Splode. Splode wasn't just a name, it was a warning. Trained from childhood to be a living weapon, Rex was molded into a human grenade launcher, able to charge objects with kinetic energy and turn everyday junk into deadly explosives. But despite the flashy powers, Rex was always more than just his abilities. Beneath the cocky attitude and relentless one-liners, he was a hero who fought tooth and nail for a world that rarely appreciated him. Rex's stories comes to a head in Invincible issue number 60, when the world is thrown into absolute chaos. Dozens of alternate universe Invincibles, each more bloodthirsty than the last, rain down destruction. Outnumbered, outgunned, and with heroes dropping left and right, Rex does what he does best: blows stuff up. But this time, the cost is his own life. In the middle of the battle, Rex finds himself face to face with an evil incredible. And in true Rex fashion, he doesn't back down. Instead, he overloads himself, charging his entire body with energy until he's a walking bomb. With a final charge, he grabs the villain and detonates, taking them both out in a fiery explosion that could be seen for miles. It's a brutal, self-sacrificing end, but also classic Rex Splode. No speeches, no hesitation, just one last explosive middle finger to the forces of evil. For a guy who lived his life blowing things up, it's almost poetic that his greatest act was turning himself into the ultimate weapon. Rex always had a knack for getting in over his head, but this time, he made sure to leave a mark no one would forget. He didn't just go out with a bang, he was the bang. Cecil Stedman. Cecil Stedman spent his life in the shadows, the man behind the curtain pulling strings at the Global Defense Agency. He was the one who made the hard calls, no matter how ugly the cost, just to keep Earth from falling apart. His reputation was built on secrets, ruthless decisions, and a never-ending drive to control every threat before it even appeared. But even the most calculating puppet master can't always foresee betrayal. When Invincible returned from an alternate universe with a dire warning about Robot's true intentions for world domination, it was too late for Cecil to protect himself. In a fateful moment, the trusted enforcer of Earth's safety was exposed as just another pawn in a much larger, darker game. Robot, whose calm precision had been hidden behind a veneer of loyalty, made his move without hesitation. In one swift, merciless moment, Robot slit Cecil's throat. Before anyone could react, Robot stepped in and pulverized Cecil's head with a force that left nothing recognizable behind. There were no elaborate monologues or last-minute regrets. It was an execution as cold and efficient as the machine behind it. In his final moments, the man who had always believed he could control chaos became nothing more than a casualty of it. Cecil Stedman's life, built on manipulation and calculated moves, ended with a single savage act that erased his legacy from the board. Adam Eve. For someone who can rewrite reality with a thought, you'd think Adam Eve would get a pass from the brutal beatdowns list. But nope, Invincible's universe doesn't play favorites. Eve is more than just Mark Grayson's love interest. She's one of Earth's most powerful beings. Her matter manipulation lets her reshape the world around her, heal injuries, and turn random junk into high-tech weapons. But all that power doesn't mean much when you're up against a villain crewmate who would rather rip your spine out than give you a fair fight. Her most brutal moment happens during Invincible issue number 63 when Conquest comes after Mark. Eve jumps into the fight, hurling energy blasts and transforming the battlefield to protect the man she loves. But Conquest? He doesn't care. He punches through her like she's made of wet paper, leaving her crumpled on the ground, her body torn open and bleeding. And here's the kicker. Eve's powers can heal herself, but only if she's conscious enough to focus. With her guts hanging out and her vision going dark, she's left with a horrifying choice. Give up and die, or force her powers to kick in by sheer willpower. Spoiler, he chooses the second option because Eve isn't just powerful, she's also stubborn as hell. She barely survives, dragging herself back from the brink of death by rewiring her own organs in real time. It's gruesome, brilliant, and horrifying all at once. In the end, Adam Eve doesn't just reshape reality, she rewrites her own survival, one molecule at a time. And if that's not hardcore, I don't know what is. Oliver Grayson. Being Invincible's little brother doesn't mean getting to live in his shadow, not when you've got Villutrumite blood in your veins. Oliver Grayson, aka Kid Omni-Man, isn't just some sidekick. He's a hybrid of a Villutrumite and alien DNA, giving him all the raw power of their empire with a little extra agility thrown in. But power doesn't mean invincibility, not when you're up against Thragg. by the time Oliver stands against the Viltrumite warlord in Invincible issue number 132, the writing's on the wall. He's fought beside his brother, seen the horrors Viltrumites can unleash, and made peace with the fact that sometimes you don't walk away from a fight. The battle itself is a complete nightmare. Thragg's on rampage, cooking up everyone in his path, and Oliver's next on the menu. Oliver gets his shots in, but Thragg hits back with enough force to turn bones into splinters and organs into pulp. He drags his head into a rock wall and tosses him around like he's a basketball. And then comes the fatal blow. Thragg grabs him, holds him in place, and punches through his abdomen, all while a literal child is watching. It's savage, animalistic, and all too fitting for Viltrumite warlord who believes mercy is weakness. Oliver Grayson may have been a little brother, but in that final moment, he fought like a goddamn Viltrumite. Battle Beast. Some beings are born into peace. Battle Beast was born allergic to it. His entire existence was built around one purpose: finding someone, anyone, who could kill him. Not out of despair or self-loathing, but because the only thrill worth living for was standing at the edge of death's door and daring it to knock. That lifelong hunt comes to a bloody, bone-shattering climax in Invincible issue number 115 to 120, when Battle Beast finally gets what he's always wanted: Thragg, the Viltrumite warlord built like a living extinction event. This isn't just a fight, it's two walking natural disasters seeing which one goes to heaven or hell first. They trade blows strong enough to crack mountains, rip limbs, and rupture organs. There's no strategy, there's no speeches, there's pure savage carnage. Battle Beast isn't trying to win, he's trying to feel. Every snapped rib, every torn muscle, it's all proof that he's finally found a fight that matters. And when his body finally gives out, there's no fear in his eyes, just satisfaction. With his last breath, he manages one final legendary line: "Thank you." Battle Beast doesn't mourn his death, he celebrates it. Because for him, dying like this, drowning in his own blood, smiling the whole way down, isn't tragedy, it's a happy ending. In the end, Battle Beast didn't lose. He finally won, because only in dying to Thragg could he prove he was truly alive. Omn-Man. Omn-Man knew from the moment he rebelled against the Viltrumian Empire that his death wouldn't be peaceful. After all, betraying a species of genocidal conquerors doesn't exactly come with a retirement plan. And in Invincible issue number 138, when Thragg, the most ruthless Viltrumite alive, finally catches up to him, there are only fists, blood, and the cold silence of space. The battle is less a fight and more a demolition. Omn-Man holds his own at first. After all, this is a man who leveled entire planets in his prime, but Thragg isn't just any Viltrumite. He's their strongest, their smartest, and their most savage. It's strength versus experience, raw power versus sheer will. Omn-Man knows every trick in the Viltrumite playbook, but Thragg wrote the damn thing. Blow after blow, Nolan's body gives out, his bones snap and his organs rupture. Yet he refuses to die easy. Even with his blood painting the skies red, he fights like a man who's got something left to protect. His son, his family, the life he built out of guilt and redemption. But Thragg isn't here to settle scores. He's here to erase a traitor. And in the end, Omn-Man doesn't go out with a scream or a plea, just a final defiant glare, daring Thragg to choke on the victory. In the vast, uncaring void of space, Omn-Man's body drifts. A fallen warrior, a flawed father. Turns out sometimes being human is the strongest thing you can be. Conquest. For Conquest, every broken bone, every scream is all entertainment to him. And that's why he's terrifying. A veteran Viltrumite with more centuries under his belt than most civilizations have existed, Conquest is a living engine of destruction. His body's covered in scars, trophies from countless battles, but none of them slowed him down. When he's sent to Earth to deal with Invincible, it's a chance to finally have fun. From the moment they collide, the place has become a war zone. Conquest treats Mark like a chewed toy, breaking bones, tearing flesh, and grinning the whole time. Even when Mark lands hits, Conquest just laughs it off, thrilled that someone can actually finally fight back. But the thing about Mark is that if you push him far enough, then you unleash something even a Viltrumite can't handle. It all comes to a head in Invincible issue number 72, where Mark, fueled by fury and desperation, tears into Conquest with everything he's got. The fight is pure carnage. Blood sprays and organs rupture. Even when he can barely breathe being choked by Mark, Conquest keeps coming, grinning through the pain. He even manages to rip through Mark's stomach. But Mark doesn't stop. He can't. He won't. With his bare hands, Mark crushes Conquest's neck in one of the most brutal, unrelenting deaths in the entire series. When it's over, Mark's left covered in blood. Conquest's in his own, standing over what's left of the monster who thought pain was a game. Turns out Conquest finally fought the fight he was looking for. Too bad it was his last. Thragg. There are warlords, and then there's Thragg. Born into Conquest, raised to rule, and forged by the blood of civilizations, Thragg was a man who every step left extinction in its wake. But even monsters meet their match. After years of brutal campaigns, betrayals, and galaxy-spanning slaughter, Thragg's final battle comes down to one opponent, Mark Grayson, Invincible himself. They trade blows across alien skies, carving scars into the very planet beneath them. Thragg, already worn down from his war with literally everyone else, refuses to give an inch, but Mark's fury burns hotter than any Village-Trumite pride. Every punch Mark lands carries the weight of every life Thragg's ever snuffed out, a cosmic receipt paid in shattered bones. And when the two crash into the sun, it's not some poetic end. It's vicious, desperate, and primal. Flesh melts, muscle chars, but neither stops swinging. Thragg fights not because he fears death, but because he cannot accept defeat. But the sun doesn't care about strength or pride. It devours both equally. In his final moments, Thragg isn't cursing fate or screaming in fear. He's clawing at Mark, trying to take him down too. Even as his body's reduced to ash, Thragg refuses to die quietly. In the end, the universe doesn't kill Thragg. His own pride did. Turns out being the strongest doesn't mean much when you're dumb enough to wrestle in a star. If you enjoyed this dive into the most brutal deaths in Invincible, make sure to smash that like button, preferably with less force than Thragg's fists. And subscribe for more deep dives into the bloodiest, wildest corners of comics. And hey, which Invincible death messed you up the most? Drop it in the comments. Just try not to cry while you're typing.